But first today, we saw the opposition again attack Labor and in particular the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, and this line was rather popular.
Why do Australian families always pay more under Labor?
Why do Australian families always pay more under Labor?
Why do Australian families always pay more under Labor?
Why do Australian families always pay more under Labor?
Why do Australians always pay more under Labor?
Why do Australian families always pay more under Labor?
And why do Australian families always pay more under Labor?
Interesting tactic. I'm not sure it's having the cut-through the Liberals want. I'll speak to my political panel, Bronwyn Bishop and Michael Kroger, shortly about that and much more, including the latest job numbers announced today. Australia's unemployment rate sadly went up, increased to 3.7%, with a number of Australians employed falling by more than 11,000.
Economists were expecting it to remain flat at 3.5%. Instead, it ticked up in the month of January. So the economy actually lost 11,000 jobs during January, and another 20,000 more people were added to the unemployed number of people across the country. So you can see unemployment rate up to 3.7%, down 11,500 jobs. Participation rate, that's the number of people either in work or actively looking for work, that fell from 66.6 down to 66.5. Underemployment rate, that stayed the same, and then hours worked slipped by about 40 million hours. So it was a bit of a surprise here on the numbers from the jobs figures, because economists were expecting the unemployment rate to slowly start ticking up throughout this year, but not in the month of January. They're expecting the rate to start lifting a little bit further into the year once we really start to feel the impact of these interest rate rises and what they've been having on Australia's economy.
And as reported by Matt Cunningham, rank-and-file members of the Northern Territory's Country Liberal Party want the party to oppose the race-based referendum, the so-called Indigenous voice to Parliament. Sky News Australia has obtained motions drafted by 3 branches, including Darwin and Alice Springs, all arguing the party should formally oppose the voice. The Alice Springs branch motion states, "The voice goes directly against CLP ideologies and beliefs, which are inclusive and do not differentiate Territorians based on race." With over 1,100 Aboriginal-funded organisations, land councils and other agencies and advisory bodies representing Indigenous Australians, there is no merit to the suggestion that one voice can represent all Indigenous Australians. Furthermore, there is no evidence that the voice will support marginalised Indigenous Australians. What is needed are practical measures, not an ideal that lacks detail and dives us along the lines of race. That's certainly the argument we've been hearing from Senator Jacinta Price.
Conversations I've had certainly with Aboriginal Territorians suggest that they don't want another overarching bureaucratic gatekeeping body, but rather the opposite.
It's high time that Peter Dutton and the Federal Liberal Party formally oppose the voice. If the coalition mount a fact-based, rational campaign, they will win the debate and the referendum will fail. If they support it or run dead, then it has every chance of succeeding. This will see racial politics enshrined in our Constitution. The Liberal Party need to understand this is a deal breaker for many coalition voters. It's an article of faith. Either the Liberals take a principled stand or they'll see their support base fractured further.